Hello and welcome to Goonies World. My name is Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am joined, as always, by Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Well, hello there.
And Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello.
Welcome back, Lynn.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Yes, and our conductor for this series, Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean.
Hey. And I do like that word conductor. There's a great justification in this game for, why he chose that word. But this game is Electric Bastionland. It was published in 2020, so I'm a little late getting to it, by Chris McDowell, who did Into the Odd. The subtitle for this game is Deeper Into the Odd. And it's much like that game with a few differences. It would be so easy to front load a whole bunch of information, but it's going to be a long ride, so I'll try to keep this brief. It's enough to know that we start in Bastion, the only city that matters. It's a sprawling industrial fantasy metropolis that occupies thousands of square leagues. It can't be mapped. I can't give you a map of it because as soon as the maps are done, it's changed. It's a living city. Sometimes new neighborhoods pop up that no one claims to have built. Despite all the urban density, there are also signs of nature on every street. There's vines and trees and bushes. Life's found a way to exist here. And a lot of very old buildings exist right alongside very new buildings. This place can barely be governed. It's so big and unwieldy. There are individual boroughs that are run by councils who interfere in everything but actually control very little. Electricity is new in this generation, and a lot of modern things exist, but in like an old-fashioned style. It's very unevenly distributed. Electric lights illuminate most areas, but they're really just pinpricks of light poking through the atmosphere, which is various shades of gray factory smog. On a good day, it's a light gray, Beneath Bastion is the underground, which is a vast realm that connects everything in the universe, they say. It's full of oddities and arcana and other treasures, although some say the pickings right beneath Bastion itself are getting slim. But one can reach different parts of Bastion through the underground, or the barbaric deep country beyond, or some say even the living stars themselves, where you can go underground and find the seas on which you can sail ships that will break the chains of reality and take you to other places. But let's open our game with the Killduck Borough. And let's say we have a camera on a drone, sailing through it. This region is dominated by factory squalor. There's a lot of high-rise, cheap housing and flame-belching smokestacks, and there's this churning industrial sound all the time in the background. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of cheap shops and restaurants and bars, all spangled with little points of electric light. There's a cable car on an elevated rail running through here more or less constantly, and it just cascades live sparks down on the street, just raining sparks every time this thing goes by. There's a ancient canal that runs through this borough, but it's been dry for like 100 years. And so now it's a motorway for these bulky, slow-moving electric automobiles. Overlooking that canal motorway is this blocky, grimy building with a flickering light that illuminates a sign, Accommodations for Transients. And that building, the building next to it's 3 stories taller, and it features this old advertisement for hot strawberry jam with a lady licking her lips, but it's all faded and abused by graffiti. And there's this huge neo-Gothic spire of a radio tower on the other side of the Accommodations for Transients. In fact, everything surrounding that building is bigger than it. But our camera on the drone will go right through the door of the Accommodations for Transients, and it seems spacious enough once you get in there. It's cavernous, really. There's this huge lounge, but it's shabby. It's got donated furniture in there and long folding tables there's a counter with an overly ornate and ridiculous sizzling electric tea maker and tea service. There's a very high desk and a cage, kind of like Danny DeVito's office on Taxi, if you remember that. Some of our younger listeners won't know what I'm talking about. But that's where the landlord, Mr. Vermenhauer, sits. And just degenerates and other people who are down on their luck are sitting at these tables. They're sipping tea and they're munching free breakfast rolls that are being passed out by a nun who's carrying this big basket. And there's a radio about the size of a refrigerator. It's trying to play music, but these weird alien transmissions keep interfering with it. It happens all the time, so people just leave it on. Some men nearby are playing Hot Murder. It's a card game with a greasy deck of cards. And there's a man talking to himself. Bureaucratic enforcers! Break down the council control! Secrets in the paperwork! Secrets in the paperwork! And he goes on to scream about worker uprisings and socialism. But at one table sit three people who have not yet gotten their free breakfast rolls. That is, you guys. But what you do have on the table in front of you is a very hot, bubbling pot of tea. You're waiting for it to cool down. You can't even drink it. And there's a 2-month-old magazine, The Ampersand, that has some articles about alien idolization and subversive art. And there's an old copy of the board game Soggy Pudding, but you can't play it because it's missing the pawn for the pervert. So, it can't be played. But these are the kind of, donated items that end up in accommodations for transients. But let me shut up and let's get to know you. I know you do have one thing in common. You've all died recently, and you all have a vague chemical odor. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you died. Let's go ahead and start with the eponymous Goonie himself.
My name's Lump, and I don't even know if I had a real name. I was just always called Lump, because I'm not even seen as human, even though I am, but people just think I'm just a lump, and that's how I got that name. Because I'm a gutter minder, and I was born and raised in the gutter, and all I got is rags and a stick hook, and this little caged biter is a bug monkey creature, and I call him Dump because that's where I found him, in the dump. And I don't even know how I died. I probably ate something I shouldn't have eaten, or maybe I just killed myself because I didn't want to live in this place no more. Then these assholes, these reanimators, brought me back. Now I owe them a bunch of money. I didn't even ask for that, but now I gotta go find a way to pay them. And that's, guess I have to do something now. Go find some treasure.
Okay. How about you, Ryan? Tell us about your character.
Well, my name is Clancy. Clancy Mancy. I was recently killed, you see, because, it was a bit of a misunderstanding, really. I had my shop set up here, and this part of town is called the Killduck region, yes?
That's right, the Killduck Borough.
I think the Killduck Borough is the perfect place for me to have had my taximancy shop. And you might say, what's taximancy? Well, it's taxidermy, except I did a very fancy taxidermy sort of thing where I had all these fantastical sort of creatures in my mind. I've got a very large book of all of these sort of fantastical creatures, and I would riff on that. And they all had sort of tentacles and cephalopod-like appendages, coming off of them in all sorts of strange directions. And so I set up my shop here in the Killduck Borough, and I was selling all these bits and bobs that I would piece together from all these animals. And I think some people sort of thought that I was a bit of a cultist because of this. They sort of chased me out of town with pitchforks and torches and sort of stabbed me with the pitchforks, and I've got one of them. I've recovered it out of my ass, and I use that as my primary weapon now.
All right. All right. You're stabbed to death by pitchfork. And how about Lynn?
Okay, well, my name is Silix Luminar. I'm not from here. I was stranded on this planet a long time ago, and I tried to integrate into society by working, as an office temp, just something really low-key. People wouldn't really notice. I was working in sales, and I was really good at it. I don't know if it's because of my my vague accent, or just people really like the way I talk for some reason. And so that made me really good at sales, and it kind of pissed off some of my coworkers. I mean, I'm integrated supposedly, but I'm an alien. People say they accept aliens, but I don't think that they really do accept them as much as they think. And when I would do better in sales than the guys, then they would say that I was using mind control on them and mind control on customers. I can't do any mind control. I may look a little strange, but that doesn't mean I can do mind control. And I know that they conspired. They were calling the men in white coats, or men in black, or the top men, or whatever the hell. Those government people. You know who I'm talking about. I don't have to, it doesn't really matter what their name is, but they were coming after me. They were coming after me because those boys were so mad at me for being better, at sales and the mind control thing that I don't really have. And so I ran. I had to run. I didn't want to be put in some lab and have them extract my special powers that I don't really have. And so I ran and I went for the stairs, and I tripped and lost my footing while I was running from those bad men that was trying to take me into some custody, and I fell and I broke my neck, and I died in that. So that's how I died.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, you look vaguely pretty normal, but there's one thing about you that's very distinctive, isn't there?
Yes, I glow with the light of the sky. I can glow in multicolor at will. Okay. Sometimes I think I get a little emotional, and it says it will, but I think sometimes my emotions play into whether I'm glowing and what color I'm glowing.
Sort of an involuntary, you get pissed to turn a little reddish.
Right.
Sort of
Yes. I can't quite control it, but yes.
A mood ring.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that sounds great. You guys have been hanging out together long enough that you've noticed that by now. You collectively owe a debt of 10,000 new pounds to Associated Reanimators, who brought you back to life. And your first payment is due. Work has been really hard to get because you're legally dead until you fill out Form 13Z with the Borough Census Council. But the first time you went there, the person you needed to talk to was on sick leave. And the second time, you had to have a signature from a different official that you didn't have that signature, so you had to go and get that signature. And then the third time, you needed a copy of old documents that none of you guys had handy anymore. So you had to apply for those documents, and you're still waiting to hear from your caseworker about those documents so that you can apply for Form 13Z so that you can, obtain meaningful legal employment. So maybe treasure hunter is not a bad idea, Lump, because that could be a lot quicker and more lucrative. But now's the time for that first installment of your debt, which is 100 pounds. It's payable in, several installments, and you don't have it. You're barely even able to afford this place, which is a £50 a night. And purple-hooded nuns from the Reformed Orthodox Saints They provide breakfast rolls and a soup and bread dinner for free. You just have to listen to a story about messages and the living stars and the way to paradise. But you're just about to get your breakfast rolls from the nun when two men walk in. And it's noticeable. In fact, Mr. Vermenhauer never stopped yelling at somebody from his little perch in his cage, the landlord. But he stops now when these two fellas walk in. They wear long black coats, and they have black bowler hats. And both of them are very pale and have no eyebrows. And one of them wears these like big electric goggles that are almost crackling with energy. And the other one holds a silver piggy bank under his arm. They both have umbrellas, even though it's not raining outside. They talk to Mr. Vermenhauer for a moment, and then he points out you guys over at your table.
It's the Reanimators.
And they saunter over. And the guy with the goggles looks you up and down, and then he looks at the other one and nods. And the one with the piggy bank, we'll just call him Mr. Piggy, says, "Right then, it's time for the first installment of your debt. £100 collectively between the three of you, due today." And he whips out this like desk-sized calendar from his coat. "Today, the 17th day of affirmation in the season of the toad, by the new Fluxonian reckoning, of course. £100. I assume you have it." "Oh, I do hope they have it, Mr. Hot Goggles." And Mr. Hot Goggles looks back at Mr. Piggy and goes, "Oh, I suspect they do have it. They look industrious to me. They're not wasting their money on room and board, I don't think. Yes, so, £100, please, and we'll mark that off in the ledger and be on about our business."
Yeah, I got that in my bank. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I would have it, you see, but I've not got it because, well, it's been rather hard to find employment because of, bureaucratic reasons, really.
Yeah, why do you think that we're staying in a place like this?
It's a flophouse, really.
If we had that kind of money laying around, you see what I'm saying? I got £2 for you.
Oh, my.
So I can make a down payment.
Your down payment, as agreed in your contract, is £100 due on the 17th day of affirmation in the season of the toad by the new Fluxonian reckoning. Now, do you have it or do you not? I hear you two honestly saying no. But what do you hear the other one saying, Mr. Hot Goggles? Well, it seems to me that old Mr. Lump here is saying he does have it. He has it in the bank. If he has 100 new pounds in the bank, well, that will take care of the debt for all of his friends, won't it, Mr. Piggy? Yes, I believe it would. However, it doesn't do us much good in the bank, does it?
Well, you just have to go get it. I got more than that. I got like 5 million pounds.
I don't believe you've got anything in the bank. In fact, I very much doubt you have a bank account.
Yeah.
Such things can be easily verified. Should only take 6 to 8 weeks with our fine bureaucratic system.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. You get back to me in 6 to 8 weeks.
No. The burden of proof is on you, sir, and we're not going to wait that long. I have a feeling you don't have the £100, and you cannot produce it. I'll walk with you to the bank right now, if you like.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get. If I can find it, it's
afraid,
a new bank.
What's the name of your bank?
Big Bucks Bank.
All right, he doesn't have it. No, I don't believe he has it. Well, you're in luck because Associated Reanimators, in their wisdom and their generosity, says Mr. Piggy, we will accept flesh in lieu of this installment. Your left hands will suffice. And they both press buttons on their umbrellas, and these like 6-inch long blades come out of the top. Come now, let's make this easy. Lay your hands on the table. Hands on the table, says Mr. Hot Goggles. People nearby, like the guy stops screaming about worker uprisings and socialism and secrets in the paperwork and backs way the hell away. The two guys playing hot murder back way the hell away. And meanwhile, your tea is not quite cool enough to drink yet, and your rolls have gone uneaten because none cannot deliver them. What do you guys do?
I'm gonna, since the tea is still hot, I'm gonna pick up my teacup and throw the hot tea on one of those guys' face.
Well, which one, Mr. Piggy or Mr. Hot Goggles?
Well, let's see what happens to Mr. Hot Goggles.
Okay,
you make his goggles really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the pot, by the way. I mean, you haven't even filled your cups yet. It's the whole pot. So you fling it on him. Roll D4 for damage. And now we're on.
That's only a 1.
Okay, well, still 1 is better than nothing. And the goggles spark a little bit. He holds his face and staggers back a foot or two, absolutely shocked and surprised. And gosh, what do you do, Clancy?
Well, and this is probably simultaneous to Lump tossing the tea, simply because this is what it was kind of what he was planning to do anyway. As soon as they threaten to cut off our left hands and sort of produce this sort of machine thing,
their umbrella blades.
Clancy is going to stand up and scream, no, you can't take Rosie, and bolt out of the, run.
Okay. You run out the front entrance or back up the stairs where the dormitories are?
Out towards the street.
Okay, you take off back out towards the street, down past Mr. Vermenhauer's cage, and move as fast as you can out of there. What about, is it Silix or Slicks? I didn't catch.
Yeah, Silix.
What do you do?
I'm just gonna I'm gonna follow Mr. Fancy. I'm gonna run for the door.
Okay, you start running for the door. You guys rush across the room again. You guys are over about by where the cage is, where Mr. Vermenhauer is. Meanwhile, our two friends, Mr. Hot Goggles and Mr. Piggy, go into action. Mr. Piggy throws his little piggy bank that he's carrying down on the floor, and almost instantly it becomes like a real pig, like a great big boar, and it charges across the room, chasing you guys. And since you ran second, just because that's the order you got called on in, it comes up behind you and tries to gore you. And I'm talking to you, Silix, and it does, in fact, gore you. And, rakes you in the back of the legs, 3 points of damage. Ooh. Ow. And Mr. Hot Goggles has recovered enough to poke at you with his umbrella cane lump, and he only gets 2 points of damage, but I don't think you have any armor or anything, so you're going to take 2. Right. And now what happens? We're going to go ahead and start with you this time, so you're right here. Let's not forget about your little friend in the cage.
I was going to, I think, so he pulls out this cage from under his rags, and there's a bug monkey creature in it. And he'll let it go, but he's gonna sick it on the pig.
Okay.
Get him, Dump.
Dump leaps out of his cage and scampers across the room, running after the pig. He can attack it. Go ahead and roll damage for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's got a D6 bite, and I rolled a 4.
Okay. Nice big bite. And I guess what you did was get out the cage. Clancy, okay, you're almost to the door, not quite yet. You can see now this pig's come up and it's attacked Silix, and then a bug monkey creature has come up and attacked the pig. What do you do?
Well, as soon as the pig was unleashed in our direction, Clancy would have stopped and turned to face it and grabbed his pitchfork, and his eyes go super wide, and I can imagine this sort of angelic sort of thing where he's imagining in his head this pig with like tentacles coming off of it in all directions, and he's like, he's got to have this pig, like he's gonna do something with it. But of course, it must be killed first, so he's gonna jam his pitchfork right into it.
Oh, good. And here it goes. And it's already been viciously bitten by the monkey.
Ooh, and that's gonna be a 6.
Oh my goodness, that's 6. Our pig must make a strength save because our pig has taken critical damage, or he may have taken critical damage. He needs to roll a 12 or less, and rolls a 16. Does not. The pig squeals and wriggles and writhes on the floor, and then instantly bursts into a bunch of little pieces of metal, and about 36 shillings pop out all over the floor from where the pig dies. And yeah, that's great. Great action. How about you're right there, Silix? What do you do now that
I think Mr. Hot Goggles shall, because pig's out of it, right?
Pig is out of it.
Pig, okay.
Yeah.
I have some bacon later.
Except
so
he turned into
right
coins,
now,
Back into a piggy bank. Yeah.
yeah, I was hoping.
Crunchy bacon.
I was hoping that wouldn't
you can buy
happen. I
some
wanted bacon.
You can buy bacon with the 36 shillings.
It's true. Okay, I'm going to use my weird gun, which is one of the things that us integrated aliens get. And my particular weird gun shoots purple light and ignores armor.
All right. Good to know.
3.
There's that purple light. You do 3 points of damage to Mr. Hot Goggles, who, as we know, has already taken some damage from the burning hot tea. You said you did 3? I'm sorry? 3? Okay, yeah. All right. And Mr. Hot Goggles has, okay, he's still up and at him, but now he's hurting. And he's clutching a glowing bit of blue or purple light on his breast where he's been hit by your weird gun. And he, however, is still far away from you, and so he turns to stab with his umbrella for another 2 points of damage. Lump, who he happens to be right near. Mr. Piggy cries out with grief and anguish and charges you for killing his pig with the pitchfork, Clancy. Charges across the room with his umbrella and does 4 nasty points of damage. And so there we are. And it's your turn. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and go with you, Clancy, since you're right there in the thick of the action and just got melee engaged by Mr. Piggy.
Well, Mr. Piggy is going to, if Clancy has any say in it, going to suffer the same fate as the other Piggy. And get a pitchfork. And he does, because I rolled a 6 again.
Okay, well, Mr. Piggy only had 4 HP, so he's knocked down into strength now. He had an 11, so he's got to roll a 9 or less to avoid. He rolls an 18, and he crumples. I love it in this game, unlike Into the Odd, where you're kind of unconscious at this point. You can crawl, at least. They let you crawl. You're going to die within an hour, but you can at least crawl if you want. So he starts crawling if you even let him. But he's been pitchforked. And you're also right there nearby. Do you do anything, Silix? Mr. Hot Goggles is still far away. And this other guy's crawling bloody in front of you. Mr. Piggy, what do you do, Silix?
I am going to use my very fashionable high-heeled boots, and I'm going to step on his head.
Okay, the guy right here.
Yes.
Well, that's enough to finish him off. There's no need to roll for that. That's classic coup de Gracie, as we like to say.
Coup de Gracie in there.
Coup de Gracie.
Coup de Gracie with a boot.
Yep. All right, coup de Gracie with it's a boot de Gracie, and you crush poor Mr. Piggy's head. Now his skull is crushed, just like the crushed fragments of the piggy bank that lie there in the blood next to him. And meanwhile, Lump, you're still right there, very close to Mr. Hot Goggles, who's terribly wounded and looks like he may be ready to skedaddle on his turn if he lives that long.
Yeah, so he had hit me with some kind of, like, pole or something, or he poked me with something.
Yeah, the blade and the end of his umbrella.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to poke him back with my stick hook.
Oh, there comes that hook on the end of the stick.
Yeah. Well, and that's a 4.
Okay, well, he only had 1 hit point left, so he is now 3 down into his strength, and he's got to make 8 or less on a d20 to avoid critical damage. He rolls an 8. However, it's now his turn. He tries to run, but he realizes he's going to have to run past you guys at the door. So he actually turns and runs towards the stairs that go into the upper dormitory, but it's a big cavernous room. It's going to take him a while to get there. And going back to your turn, anyone with a ranged weapon could shoot him first, and then anyone who wanted to chase him and stab him could. So we'll start with the one I know has a ranged weapon, a weird gun. Silix, do you want to let this guy run upstairs and get away through the roof or something? Yeah.
I do not want to let him get away.
Okay, well, what do? Bring out the weird gun?
I do.
There goes the purple light.
Ooh, and I rolled a 6.
Oh, my. Well, that means he's going to have to roll 2 or less on a d20 to stay up. He rolls it. No, he doesn't. He rolls a 10. And, yeah, he's like halfway up the stairs at that point, but then his whole body stiffens and it arches his back and falls backwards down the stairs, head over heels, and then crawls around at the bottom of the stairs in agony because the blue lights just pierced right through him. And now there's a calm, and nothing but the sound of the radio that's trying to play. And then the nun sets down the tray of breakfast rolls.
Oh wait, I never got one of those rolls.
She does the sign of the star on herself. Meanwhile, Mr. Vermin Howard, the landlord, comes down, and he's yelling and screaming at people to come get this place cleaned up and get these people out of here. I can't believe you bring this kind of trouble on me.
It's not our fault. These reanimators came after us. We're going to have to chop up those bodies into little bitty parts because now the other reanimators going to try to reanimate the reanimators, and we can't let them do that because then they'll come after us again. So we got to chop up those the bodies into little teeny bits so that it can't be reanimated.
Not in the middle of my hostel. My hostel, you don't. You don't chop up bodies into tiny bits here. In fact, you're out on your ass.
Oh.
I don't want trouble with the reanimators.
I just wanted to run away.
Look, you stop weeping. You cried through you weren't weeping when you're stabbing people with a pitchfork. I didn't see you crying then, crybaby.
Well, I thought I was going to have a pig to work on, but now he said it's just turned back into money.
Listen, you paid through tonight, so fair is fair. You sleep here tonight. You be on your way in the morning. You know they're going to come back here looking for you. When they don't make their rounds later tonight, maybe you got a day's grace because you're not the first people they're going to go collect from today. It's first thing in the morning. But you got tonight, and then you're out on your ass.
Fine.
Lump is gonna dive on the ground and try to scoop up all the shillings or whatever that came out. And, I don't know how many shillings make up a new pound.
Well, it's actually... You got about a pound and change.
Woo!
Yeah, you got like a pound 17 is what you got. 17 shillings. It's not bad at all. And, of course, you got these bodies here, although Mr. Hot Goggles is still crawling on the ground, bleeding from the gaping light hole in his back and chest and writhing in pain. Does anyone want to put him out of his misery?
Actually, unless anybody stops him, I think Clancy's going to try to help him up.
What are you doing?
Well, I just wanted to... I mean, they're just doing their jobs, you know. They just wanted to collect on the debt that we fairly owe them, and we don't have the money, but it's not our fault we don't have the money, but it's not their fault they're trying to collect, because they're just doing their jobs.
It's a dirty job, and I didn't want them to do it. I didn't even ask to be reanimated. They gotta put him out of his misery.
No, wait, says the nun. She goes over. Your friend is right. You know, it is a dirty job they do. It's an ungodly job, in fact. But we mustn't let him die. And she does some work on it, gives him some stabilizing care, and then, Clancy's helped him up. And,
Okay. Not to screw up this whole last 5 minutes.
Yeah?
Didn't I stomp on his head?
No, that was Mr. Piggy.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Piggy's head is crushed.
Sorry.
There's no helping Mr. Piggy. They can't even reanimate that.
Yeah, that's a good job. He's coming back.
Yeah. And the nun helps him to the door, and Clancy, you can help him to the door if you want. But with the doorway...
And the whole time he's blubbering and apologizing, and I just wanted to run away.
He gets to the door and turns around and looks back at the room. He says, you'll rue the day. You'll rue the day.
I should have just stabbed him with my pitchfork, you bastard. I was just trying to run away.
You've still got time. He turns in the doorway and heads out.
Yeah, as soon as he turns around, just because he's not even being appreciative of the fact that... So Clancy's just going to jam the pitchfork right up his ass.
It comes right out of his abdomen.
That's what you get.
Well, I mean, Clancy was totally contrite and apologetic until he's like, you'll rue the day. Then he's like, well, fuck you then, bitch.
Yeah, sometimes how you gotta be. There's a few screams at that. And the nun says, I know you couldn't have let your hand be taken. Will you stop yelling, Mr. Vermanhauer? I'll get this place straightened up. Listen, you do need looking after, the three of you. My name is Sister Seven. It's not a number. 7 just happens to be my name. You do need looking after. And I overheard what you were saying about your Z form that you're having trouble getting. You know, I run into this sort of thing all the time. You're stuck in the system. You're falling through the cracks of all bureaucracy. You know, I first of all, I want you to take this. And she gives you just a little book with pictures of, like, happy people swimming with sky whales on the front. The sky whales look happy, too. And it says, secret messages in the stars. But,
secret messages.
You must find a way to pay your debt. I try to help people where I can. I know someone who might be able to help you with that debt. I can see that your heart was in the right place there, Clancy, if that's your name, yes? Even if you did decide at the last minute to stick your pitchfork up that man's rear end.
Well, he didn't accept my apology.
Yes. And I heard you, and I know that perhaps you didn't ask to be reanimated. But if you do want my help, I can introduce you to this person and give you a letter of introduction. It's an old woman, a very wealthy woman. And, in fact, I have taken her last confession recently. She's so close to death. She wants to hire someone off books to help her settle some final affairs, some final business she wants taken care of before her demise. And since she's a contrite soul, I believe that I should help her and help you. At the same time, maybe you can help each other. Would you like to meet her?
That is very kind of you. It's so nice of you to offer. Yes, we would like to meet her, but I still really, 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 really want one of those cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I'm drooling over them cinnamon rolls.
Yes, let's all have a cinnamon roll. Will you have a cinnamon roll? I'll clean up these people you just murdered. Anyway, you enjoy the cinnamon roll, and she writes you a little letter of introduction on the inside blank back cover of one of those little booklets of literature that she gave you. And the woman that you're supposed to meet is Ladya Hope. She lives in the Moonstone Towers Hotel.
Ooh, sounds fancy.
Yeah, it's a hotel in the Hollowhead neighborhood. And I don't know when those fellows will come back. Looking for them. We're certainly going to have to report this to the authorities, so I recommend you get going now.
But we were promised we could stay here for the night.
No, I didn't promise any such thing. That was old Mr. Vermingham over there.
But was this old lady gonna offer us a place to stay?
Well, I don't know.
Because if not, I'm going to sleep here for tonight where I know there's a nice bed for my back.
Well, you must do as you think is best. I've done all I can do to help you for now. May the stars go with you. May you be star blessed, my children.
Thank you.
You can see I already am.
Yes, you are one of the special ones. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to go to this place and see this woman, this Ladya Hope, Moonstone Towers Hotel is rather new. It's just built in the last 50 or 60 years. There used to be an old Moonstone house in this spot, but it burned down. They built a big, lovely hotel here. But they call it the Hollowhead neighborhood. It's not a different borough. It's just a neighborhood within this borough. It's on the slightly better side of the canal, and you know how to get there. So if there's nothing you want to do before you leave here, you go outside and you pass by some relic shrines and the Hall of Grudge Records, and turn left by the Church of Disbelief, and there's the borough offices for the Department of Problems left to fester. They're headquartered there. And you go around that, past the ruined museum, and there's the bridge of the canal there beyond that. Along the way, there are like hundreds of people outside. There are courageous chimney sweeps and tuk-tuckers and rickshaw drivers, and there's some tin soldiers leading a gang of chained-together youths. And there's a mobile cocktail purveyor. There's all kinds of activity. When you get to the bridge, it's lined with electric lights that are bright even in the gray daylight. And on the other side of the bridge is this huge hollow skull. It's the size of a building. It's covered with vegetation and graffiti. It's been here forever. No one even questions its existence. Beyond that is a big park. Well, not huge, but in the middle of the city it seems big. It's about an acre. And it's completely untended and overgrown, though. And it's surrounding this big monument to Death in Waiting, the cosmic angel. And overlooking this whole park are more urban towers. And there's a gang of urchins running by, chasing and beating an uplifted dog.
Hey, I know them guys.
Yeah. Shut up, lump, says. And one building has an electric crescent moon on top of it and blinking blue light bulbs outlining the building. That's obviously Moonstone Towers. I assume you'll head that way. You go around the overcrowded park. You can tell there's some people messing around inside the park in the trees, too. There's probably all kinds of illicit activity going on in there. The statue of Death in Waiting, the cosmic angel, is rather fearsome, although it looks like nothing so much as a giant robot. Anyway, you push through the doors into the Moonstone Towers. There's a plush, overstuffed lobby with a slightly bouncy floor. And coming up to greet you is a mockery. Now, mockeries are beings that are stitched together with canvas and wood and string. They're given, the spark of life. And a lot of them act in servile positions, usually good at one really specific thing. It's sort of in the ballpark with the type of thing that Ryan was involved in, only slightly more successful, it sounds. But this mockery is made in the form of a heron that's wearing sort of a bellboy, cap and jacket. And the heron comes walking up on his great big long wooden legs. Greetings. Welcome to Moonstone Towers. How can I help you?
We're looking for The old lady.
Ladya Hope.
Ladya Hope.
Yeah.
Certainly. Ladya Hope is accepting visitors. Come this way. The mockery turns around and begins walking. You follow my guess? Okay. He takes you to this great big pneumatic elevator. And you go inside, and he presses a button, and you guys just whoosh, whip up to what must be the top floor. Air cushions your stop. You feel weightless for a second. And it opens onto a small foyer. It's just a bench and then one door. This is Mrs. Hope's house, he says, and closes the elevator, and it whooshes back down behind you. There is a buzzer by the door. You don't want to buzz it.
Could be electrified. Don't touch it.
I think it might be just like one of those things that you ring to like alert the person inside that you're standing at the door.
It could be. It could be a trap. I try to get people to touch it as a prank, and they zaps you.
I'm just gonna push it because I'm tired of waiting.
Oh, there you go. You push it, and the door opens by itself. And inside, you see a room full of stacks of papers and books, and shelves floor to ceiling full of other books and knickknacks and curios and weird little oddities. There's a statue of a woman making love to an octopus, actually.
Ooh.
And it's a rather well-rendered octopus. In fact, you can tell its exact, the exact genus or whatever it would be, the exact taxonomy of this particular octopus. And there's a statue of a crystal lion over in another corner. There's a radio playing a strange melody from a broadcast tower in another borough. And in the middle of all that, there's this ancient old crone, old woman wearing a black beanie, sitting in an electric wheelchair in the middle of the room with this gigantic blunderbuss on her lap. It's pointed at the door.
Yeah. Fucking stupid idiots, not trapped. Get in here,
says the woman.
Are you my mom? You sound like me.
If you were mine, I'd kill myself. Get in here.
Well, I did kill myself, I think.
You the ones the nun sent?
Yeah, we are.
Well, you look like idiots to me.
Look, I can't help but notice, is that a vampirapod over there on the statue?
A what?
A vampirapod? It's a subclass of, well, look, I don't want to get into the taxonomy, but is that a proper octopus or is it a vampire squid?
Well, maybe you do know something after all. Maybe you are the ones. Come in.
I'm just here for this. If you got any cinnamon rolls.
I've got no cinnamon rolls for you. Here's a pita crackers.
And she throws them across the room. A box of pita crackers.
He dives for him.
All right.
Well, you've got good reflexes. I'll give you that. All right. And you, I always like to see one from really far away.
Oh, yeah, I am from quite a distance.
Yeah, I've met a few in my time. Now listen, if you're going to help me, we can work together. Well, as I say, my name is Ladya, but my whole life everybody just called me Laddie. All right? And I've spent my life collecting oddities and arcana. And I'm now making plans for its final disposition because I'm out of here. I'm going to go join the spirit in the sky. But I must have one more task completed before I go. I want the treasure of Percy Butterworth. Surely you've heard of the so-called great treasure hunter, huh?
No, I ain't heard of that. No.
No, nothing here. I've been really busy studying, cephalopods and things.
I heard butter.
I do like butter.
I do like butter also. Maybe I just haven't heard of them because I live so far away.
You got any butter for these crackers?
I don't have any butter for the crackers, nor any kind of dip or anything. I don't believe in condiments. Anyway, it's good that you don't know who Percy Butterworth is, because his name is best left forgotten. He had these awful henchmen, Roach and Nix, and they led this huge army into our community. And they put it to the torch, and they raided our lands for treasure, and they killed and raped a bunch of people. And I tried to stop them, but I was just a little girl. And they cast a spell on me and turned me into a feral animal. For years, I ran wild and naked in the marshlands before I came to, but I tell you, it toughened me up. But I swore...
Is she embellishing? 'Cause I don't remember that.
I seem to vaguely recall that happening in the last episode or something.
There could be some negative spin going on in her memories of exactly what happened.
I think we did turn someone feral, though.
Yeah, it was her.
Yeah.
And anyway, I swore revenge on Percy Butterworth. And he died long before I could achieve it, because I'm 112 years old now. This is all before electricity. But I'll have his treasure before I die. I need a desperate band of people who have nothing left to lose, who have fallen through the cracks of the system, people who don't even officially exist. And I don't think you can go fuck off with the treasure once you find it, because you'll never be able to sell it without my network and my infrastructure agents. Now, listen, but I'll split it with you 50-50. You'll never get a better deal. So... if you try to screw me, I swear I'll hire bounty enforcers to kill you dead, and I'll make sure there's not enough left to bring you back this time. Yeah, I can smell that formaldehyde on you.
Well, you'd be doing me a favor, probably.
Well, I don't think we're going to get much of a better offer than this, I'm afraid.
No, you won't. And I wouldn't say it is a good offer. In fact, I'll be honest, you're not the first people I approached. You know, a real professional named Ronin Friendly. He signed on with me to accomplish this, and he's still under contract, but he's missed the last 3 contact points. He's broken off contact, and I know he's trying to cut me out of it. So you're going to have to beat him to it. All right? Now listen, Percy had an estate in his retirement in a place called Plankton Downs. Now that's weeks away if you were to go through Bastion. But if you take the underground, the distance could be much shorter. You know, geography doesn't play nice down there. I can get you tickets, in fact I have some now, to the slow sledge to the wall. That's a rail craft that runs through the underground. It'll get you as far as the western wall of Bastion, and you can get to Plankton Downs from there. You know, they say the underground is so dangerous, so why not just enjoy the comfort of a sledge ride, huh? And then maybe you can beat Ronin Friendly to where this is. Otherwise, you could get tied up with monstrosities and all kinds of trouble, ancient machines that are down there. However, I know that Percy Butterworth's treasure is going to be well guarded. He was a crafty son of a bitch, in addition to being an evil rapist and murderer. And it's possible, too, that Ronin Friendly could catch up to you. He's tricksy, so I'm going to take a risk that you won't fuck off and disappear on me. And I'm going to give you something, each of you. Yeah, something to help you on the way.
Cinnamon roll.
No, it's not a cinnamon roll.
And she rolls her way over in the electric wheelchair to a big cabinet and opens the cabinet. And inside, you see some noble weapons. And each of you will receive a noble weapon to help you on your quest. So, if you would please roll a d12, each of you, to see what noble weapon you get, because it will be very special.
I rolled an 8.
Okay. And you actually, if you've ever been jealous of Clancy's pitchfork, you're no longer jealous of it, because you now have the prong of war. The prong of war is a heavy two-pronged military fork that can barely be wielded in one hand, but you can do it. And oh yes, that's associated with an ancient culture that practiced terrible torture rituals. You'll enjoy that one. Prong of war. There you go. And it's D8 damage, and you can use it in one hand, but it's not bulky. Yeah. And all right, which one did you grab there, pretty boy? She says to Clancy.
Well, I rolled a 7.
Ah, it's a good one. It's the Erberager. This is two-barreled. You'll love this one. It's a two-barreled heavy pistol with gargoyle faces and spikes and all sorts of over-the-top decoration on it. And that's a good one. It's wildly inaccurate, but it fires shots that are fast and big enough that they won't even matter. So, enjoy it. The Erberager. It has a nice bark, bark, bark when you shoot it. Wait till you see it. You'll love it.
I assume just what, D6?
It's D8. Yeah, these are all noble weapons.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not magic. They're just colorful, one-handed D8 weapons. Never know when you'll need another hand. And finally, what about you, Bright
I rolled 9.
9? Another pistol. It's the side mortar. It's a side mortar. It's a very heavy, sturdy pistol with no actual resemblance to a mortar. But that's got an incredibly satisfying pump-action reload on that. It's a perfect weight for spinning around on your finger and doing tricks, too. I think you'll enjoy that.
That sounds fun.
It's great when you shoot. It's like I got a great baff, kerchuk, baff, kerchuk. Very satisfying. Yeah. I like great guns. And you with the prong of war, military fork. Well, I hope maybe you'll find an evil salad out there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Now listen, there's one more thing I need to give you here. If you're gonna take the slow sledge, then you're gonna need tickets. And she gives you tickets. They have dark green printing on lime green paper. They're second-class tickets. But it says it departs at midnight tonight from the Plaza of Pondering in the underground. You guys have no real, idea where that is. As it happens, there's an entrance to the underground nearby here. It's at the base of the monument to Death in Waiting, the Cosmic Angel, out there in the park. Surely some denizen of the underground can tell you how to get to the Plaza of Pondering. There's all kinds of miscreants and mockeries and weirdos down there.
Are you sure you're not my mom?
I'm absolutely certain. Now, for contacting me. And don't let that bug monkey get anywhere near these precious pigeons, she says. And she has a cage full of 3 pigeons. At various waypoints on your journey, when the time is right, you communicate with me. You send one of these pigeons back. Save the last one for when you get there.
Do the pigeons have names?
No, you don't name carrier pigeons. Don't name any animals.
And you don't eat them? Is that correct?
I've eaten plenty of pigeons when I was feral, believe me.
But you
don't eat these.
You don't want us to eat these, then?
No, I don't want you to eat them. I want you to do exactly what... Maybe you are idiots. Maybe I should... I wish I'd gone with Ronin Friendly hadn't screwed me over. Watch out for that son of a bitch, though. I think you'll beat him there if you take the sledge, but he's crafty, shifty. Well, what are you waiting for? Go! Get back before I die.
I'll be back as soon as I can, Mother.
Make me want to poke my eyes out every time you say that. Dumb son of a bitch. And the door closes. Well, the heron, the mockery of a heron, will gladly take you back down to the lobby. And you can go back out into outside of the Moonstone Towers. And she did say there was a entrance to the underground at the base of that great big monument of Death in Waiting, the Cosmic Angel. Once you push through the overgrown nature that's all over the park, though, it's filthy in there. There's trash everywhere. There's empty alcohol containers and syringes and fast food packages. But you push your way all the way through to a door at the base of the monument. And it's a really old. It was built on top. The monument was built on top of an older building, and that building's now no longer in use. But there's a label that says 2 trains in like really old school writing. We're talking like old school steam trains or whatnot, with a down arrow next to the door. It's so faded you can barely read it. And the door's not locked, but you have to push it open. You know, there's a lot of rust falls down from the top. It's a big metal door. But inside there's a ribbon blocking stairway going down. It says passage closed for reconnoitering by the Committee for Rail Reclamation. But even that looks like it's been here for a long time. Nevertheless, it does seem like a viable way into the underground. Do you want to go down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I don't see why not.
Let's go.
In that case, we'll find out what happens next time.
Hey everyone, if you like this podcast, consider leaving us a good rating and/or review, and subscribe to us wherever you can. We've got a YouTube channel and a Discord server, as well as merchandise available at TeePublic. Find our website at gooniesworldpodcast.com. Email us at gooniesworldpodcast@gmail.com. You can find all those links and more at linktree/gooniesworld. Thanks for listening.